G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We are back for footy tipping in 2023. Bloody keen to get into it and keen to also get back into the swing of things of weekly tipping. By the way, footy tipping competition, yes. Link in the description if you are yet to join. Now, the tipping competition does carry over from last year, so if you did join last year and didn't leave manually throughout any time period, you are still in the comp. But yeah, you can double check if you want if you are still in. But yeah, for the new people, feel free to join. Absolutely free to join. And yes, there will be cash prizes for the winners at the season's end. How bloody good. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. And let's get into the footy tips for week one. It is just simply good to be back. The ESPN footy tips all loaded up. The graphics back on. It's just great to be back with the footy tips, and we kick it off with an absolute cracker, or usual cracker I should say, Thursday night, Richmond versus the Blues at the MCG, the typical game to kick off the year, and it's going to be a really intriguing hit out. Obviously last year the Blues finally knocked off the Tigers round one, and we saw them, or should have, make finals in 2022, and they just had such a brilliant start. And this makes me think whoever wins this one will have the better start to their season. It's just such a huge game and such an important game for both clubs to get that first win, to get things rolling, because I tipped the Blues this year for top four. I think they need a bit of momentum in them, and a win like here would just be awesome for them. Whilst for the Tigers, I think they're a very strong team with the additions of Taranto and Hopper improving that contested game. No Sam Walsh for round one, but Paddy Cripps does come back in. So you just still look at the midfield. 𝐓𝐿𝐴𝐿 back in, Cripps, Kennedy, bit of 𝐻𝐴 too. They still have such a strong contested midfield. I think contested-wise, it's going to be a very strong battle. 𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐿 should take the job on Lynch. That should be a very interesting matchup, forward versus defence there. I'm liking the Blues in this one. I just think at the moment they're a side with high spirits at the moment. Last year they were oh so close from reaching finals, and I'm just feeling like sort of just that year where they're just going to get things clicking with a bit of momentum, and I think they're going to win this one against the Tigers. Going to be a ripper of a game. I think, yeah, it's going to be end-to-end, really heavily contested game with both strong contested midfields by the looks of it now. But I'll be going with the Blues here. I just like the look of their spine at the moment. Yeah, a few injuries, but if they just get that contested game going and just get that high pressure footy that they were very good at last year, I think the Blues get it done here in a pretty good game. Yeah, the Blues will get this done by 15 points. Moving on to Friday night, and we've got another beauty. So two cracking games in a row. The Geelong Cats taking on the Pies. So qualifying final rematch, and I still have to say that qualifying final was probably one of the best finals in recent memory. It was just an unbelievable game to watch, just end-to-end drama. And yeah, a ripping finish to that too. So the Pies are coming back with a bit of revenge and a pretty strong preseason from what I've heard. 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐿 has put on a bit of size. According to the press, Teqoy is in really good mental and physical shape, so he could explode this year and explode this game potentially too against the Cats. Yes, Selwood might be out the door, but geez, you got the likes of 𝘼𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐻𝐪y. Could he go bang against his former side? Tanner Bruin and probably Bowes in that midfield as well, so I'm intrigued to see how they go. With the Pies full midfield of Tom Mitchell and Adams and also Teqoy and Crisp, Lipinski is a big out though. I think that removes a bit of their X factor from their side. Yeah, it's going to be a cracking game. I really like the Pies in this one. I think just with the spirits they have and the high energy and the fast transition they do play, I think they could get it done. But look, I think just the Cats with round one, the premiers from last year, I think I might just go safe with Geelong here. I think it will be a cracking game. It's going to be a close game. But I just loving the look of the Cats on paper. I think Cameron could go big. Yes, Hawkins is missing round one, but you look at how they played with preseason. I think Cameron could maybe be the solo sort of key, whilst 𝘼𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐻𝐪y could play sort of as a tall forward, or they could just get things clicking there. But yeah, I'm going to be going for the Cats in this one. Going to be a cracking game. I'm going to go Geelong by 11 points. And now for arguably one of the best matchups in this century. No, I am joking. Absolutely shit banter levels from me, that is safe to say. North Melbourne versus West Coast, 17th versus 18th. How bloody good. 1:45 PM on the Saturday. North home, of course, to the Eagles, and I think this is just a huge game for both clubs. Knowing each other, they look probably at each other's opponents thinking, you know, this is a great opportunity to get a win against probably a beatable side and start off their season in good fashion. And you'd probably think the loser of this could potentially start, you know, quite a poor sort of record. So it's a very important game for both clubs. Probably predicted both bottom four. But yeah, North Melbourne at home, understandable they are the favourites in this game. They look quite decent in pre-season. A lot of their young players like Tom Powell was pretty promising. 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 in that midfield, of course, looked quite good too. A lot of people go with North Melbourne. You know, it's at home. They'll get the job done. But I'm pretty bullish on the Eagles this year. Fully fit side, so Yeo and Sheed back in, and Oscar Allen, he could go big on this game too. And also Ben McKay is a bit of a big out for North Melbourne too, so I think it will be quite tricky for them to hold down the likes of Darling and Oscar Allen in the forward line. Lowe could step in and do a big job too, alongside probably the likes of 𝐼𝐴 or etc. But yeah, good game, good matchup I think this will be. But I'm going to go for the Eagles away. I reckon they'll start off their season in good fashion, and they'll get it done by 16 points. Now for Port Adelaide versus Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval, and you instantly look at this, you see Adelaide Oval, you like Port Adelaide in this tip, no matter who they play, they just always sort of have that home field advantage where they can really get clicking and really get the ball rolling. But I still can't look past the last 2 years. They just struggle to beat sort of opponents above them, or sort of top 8 opponents. They've always struggled with that. But the Lions do arguably have one of the strongest lists in the competition at the moment. I just can't look past the depth they do have. Yes, Marcus Adams is an out, but Jack Payne is developing nicely. He looks to slide into that number 2 key defender role oh so nicely. I think on paper, Port, they do look the goods too. I think their forward half is promising. Rosie and Butters, 𝗏𝐼𝐴 could really get going if he is fully healthy this year, and Todd Marshall down there, and Fantasia if he can keep healthy as well. And 𝗼𝐿𝐿𝐼 Rioli is a very, very huge in for that Port power side to sort of replace that Robbie Gray sort of small forward-esque type. It's a tricky one. I do like Port, but I'm just going to stay safe with the Lions. I think they're just going to be a strong side this year. They're going to be a lot better on the road if they want to make top 4, so I think they get the job done here against Port Adelaide. And a pretty good hitter. I think it's going to be one of those games where Port starts strong. They might be leading by 20 points. But the Lions just get things rolling with their star midfield and forward line they do have. Just the recruits they have, the balance they have across all facets of the list is so strong, the Lions. So I'm going to be tipping them against Port away. I think they'll get it done by a convincing margin. Lions by 22 points. Now for the D's, taking on the Bulldogs at the MCG. Another cracking contest here. Good thing we're not kicking off with this game from last year, because it had about 5 people attend. Maybe I'm a bit wrong with my tip with the Bulldogs going 10th. It's hard with those predictions, but geez, the Bulldogs forward line is looking so strong from what we saw in the preseason matches. 𝗏𝐿𝐼𝐴 looks like he could explode this year. Darcy down forward there too. Aaron Norton as well. Rory Lobb. Maybe Arthur Jones, a sneaky little X Factor 4, could get his round 1 debut. Waitman in there too. They just look like a really, powerful sort of unit that could pump on points this year. But for me, the Demons are just probably one of the most complete teams in the competition. They look primed across all areas of their playing list. Defense looking strong, midfield's looking elite. From what I've read, they're sharing sort of the centre bouncers with James Harms and Tom Sparrow to sort of replace 𝗏𝐼𝐴 a bit, which I don't mind, because there's just such powerful midfielders of Clayton and Petrarca can sort of play their part, whilst Max Gawn and Grundy, that's just, you just can't, back that down. That Gawn and Grundy combination, it's just so strong. Going to be very hard to defend this year, I feel, because Max Gawn very good in the air, Grundy very good at his ruck craft, can swap between the two. But I think I'm just going to go for the Demons here. I know the Bulldogs, I love their forward half at the moment from what I saw, but I still don't know about the defense. I think Liam Jones is going to be huge this game, because he did really guard his defensive post well in the preseason. But yeah, I'm going to be going for the Demons in this tip. I just think they're just, on paper, a bit stronger, and I think they'll wrestle and push out the Bulldogs here in a pretty good game. I'm going to be going the Demons by 17 points. And for the next Saturday night game, we've got the Suns taking on the Swans at not Metricon. It's called Heritage Bank Stadium now. So it's going to take a while for me to forget saying Metricon Stadium. Bloody hell. But yeah, we all know, if you are a Swans man like myself, the Suns is always just a bit of a concern to play, because it is a bit of a bogey side. The Suns always seem to play great football against the Swans. I don't know if it's because of 𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐿, former assistant coach of the Sydney Swans. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in the water over there at the Suns, but they look strong for a finals potential campaign in 2023, and it's just going to be a huge game and a huge win if they can knock off the Swans. But I just think with round 1, both teams starting at that sort of starting point, no teams having momentum or coming off a losing or winning streak, I just think the Swans are going to look at this game and sort of have a better knowledge and sit down and review it, fully rejuvenated, starting from round 1 sort of side. and look at it thinking we can decompose and we can sort of break apart this Sun side. So I do like the Swans here. I just think with round one, they're not going to be farting around too much. I think they're going to be playing strong football, and I reckon they'll get the job done here against the Suns, which should be a really intriguing matchup. I'm liking the look of this Suns midfield and the forward line. King could go massive here, but I think the Swans are still going to be a strong outfit this year if they can get things clicking and get their pressure going again and their ball skills. So I'm going to be going for the Swans here in a bit of an end-to-end contest. I think this will be a high-scoring affair, but in the end, the Swans will get it done and take it home by 14 points. For the Sunday games now, the Giants taking on Adelaide at Giants Stadium. The Crows heading into 2023 with high hopes, potentially pushing for a final spot. They looked the goods in pre-season as well. They were playing their high-pressure football, really good contested ways, and the likes of, you know, Laird and Keys and, of course, 𝘼𝐼 𝐷𝐿𝐼 look very strong, and they're primed for a huge year, the Crows. But the Giants are the favourites here, and I tipped them for the spoon, and they did look quite good in pre-season as well. They look like they're sort of returning to their roots of the Orange Tsunami sort of style. The halfbacks are overlapping, the midfielders were racking up the football. You know, the likes of Tom Green and Finn Callaghan, sort of the young players are looking awesome as well, and they're just going to be a really entertaining side this year. I reckon the Giants are going to be playing with just high transition, high scoring. It's sort of just the sexy sort of tip to go to the Giants with their high scoring, but I'm going to be going the Crows away here. I'm big on the Crows this year. They usually have strong starts their year, and I think the likes of 𝐼𝐷𝐼 and their forward line too, Isaac Rankin and McAdam can really get going, 𝘼𝐿𝐼 too. But yeah, it's going to be a good game this one, but I reckon the Crows will get it done. I think it's sort of going to be like the Giants have a fast start, but the Crows get it done and win big, I reckon. Crows by 34 points. Now for the primetime Sunday game, the Hawks versus the Dons at the MCG, 3:20, and probably the predicted Wooden Spooners kicking off with their first home game against the Dons. Now a lot of people are probably going to be tipping Essendon here, just in terms of they probably have the better team out on the park at the moment. The Hawks are just still the biggest question mark. Over 1,000 games lost in experience, all that yada yada. A lot of youth are going to have to rely on, like Cam McKenzie and Day in that midfield, and 𝐻𝐻𝐻𝐿, can he get back to his best? And no Mitch Lewis as well, so Fergus Green is going to be big, and 𝐓𝐿𝐼 as well. But yeah, meanwhile for Dons, probably a bit better looking on paper. A few of the young players like Hobbs and Archie Perkins could just go big this year as well. Peter Wright could be in for another big year as well. So I think the Dons on paper do look better here, but there's always got to be upsets, and I'm just feeling the Hawks can really get it going here and take a huge victory. I don't know what it is about the Hawks. No matter how good or bad their list looks, they just always seem to get those big wins. You know, they just seem to pull it out of nowhere, and you know, a game they're expected to lose, they sort of win. They did have a strong start to the season last year, and I just think they can continue that trend. I don't know, I'm just feeling the Hawks in this game. They're going to get a close win here, a bit of an upset against the Don side that probably do look better on paper. And yeah, Hawthorn to take out an absolute ripper of a win and take it home by 9 points. And for the final game of round one, St Kilda versus Fremantle at Marvel Stadium. Geez, the Saints are in a bit of strife with their injury list. I saw, you know, McKenzie is out, King is out, Hayes is out, Ross is out, Caulfield is out, so we yet to see much of him from the last 2 years. They're just struggling a bit with injuries, but no matter how much I look at it, I just like the Saints for round one. I think they're just a genuine chance to get sort of that high spirits win. They might not look the goods on paper, but they just boss it with maybe just goal after goal affair and sort of getting it done for Ross Lyon with his first game back as coaching with the regular season. But I just can't look past Fremantle. I know they're playing away, but if they want to be big this year, they've got to be better on the road. They've got to be good on the road. And to be honest, they were quite good on the road last year, but I think, you know, just Freo are just a fully strong side at the moment. Nut 5 down forward, he could go bang this game potentially. You know, Darcy in the ruck and Brayshaw, Sarong, O'Meara will look quite good in pre-season too. I like the Saints as sort of just that doesn't really logically make sense tip, but they could get it done. But Freo, better team on paper. I just think they're a lot stronger than the Saints at the moment. But I reckon it's going to be one of those games where the Saints really grind down Freo to try and get a win. So I think it will be close. Will be a cracking affair, but the Dockers, I just think, a bit better on paper. And the Dockers will take home this game away from home and win by 15 points. So everyone, there are my tips for the first round of the 2023 AFL season. Once again, bloody keen for this season start, and it's going to be pretty huge on the channel this year with the tips and also the live watch along. It's going to be streaming 3 this week, so make sure to stay tuned on the channel. And yes, if you are yet to join the footy tipping competition, link is in the description, absolutely free to join. And yes, there will be money for the top finishers at the end of the season. So once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the first edition of the footy tips on the channel for 2023. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to enjoy. And until next time, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.